So welcome to Jumbo IS and welcome to our lecture series called Daily MCQ Practice. In this lecture series, we cover a particular day's current affairs through a set of 4 to 5 MCQs. The purpose is very simple. We want you to revise your current affairs. And what better way to revise these current affairs than by getting much needed MCQ practice, which would come in really handy for clearing your prelims examination, stage 1 of your civil services examination. Because prelims examination is all about MCQs. Now, this lecture series would solely focus on current affairs. So we'll be practicing MCQs from current affairs only because current affairs form a very important portion of your prelims examination. 40 to 50% of the questions are directly or indirectly related to current affairs. So we cannot ignore current affairs, right? But don't you worry, we'll come out with separate lecture series for other subjects also. Okay, so we will have a separate lecture series for polity MCQs. We will have a separate lecture series for economy MCQs, geography MCQs, history MCQs, environment MCQs, and whatnot. Okay, but this lecture series focuses solely on current affairs. Okay, now if you follow this lecture series regularly, then these 4 to 5 MCQs on a daily basis would add to more than 1200 MCQs. And for current affairs alone, 1200 MCQs just before your prelims examination is more than enough. All right. So make sure you make this lecture series a part of your daily routine if you really want to feel confident about your current affairs portion while appearing for prelims examination. All right? Okay. Enough of the introduction. Let's straight away jump into the lecture, starting with question number 1. Consider the following statements regarding the Commissioner of Railway Safety. It is a government body headquartered in New Delhi that is in charge of rail safety in India. It is under the administrative control of Ministry of Railways. Before 1961, the CRS was called Railway Inspectorate, which was formed during the colonial rule. How many of the above statements are correct? Okay. So look, Commissioner for Railway Safety is a government body. Yes, that's true. It is a government body that is responsible for rail safety in India. Whenever there is a rail accident, then this Commissioner for Railway Safety is tasked with investigating that accident and recommending the way forward. Okay, so it is responsible for ensuring safety of rail travel in India. Okay, now this body is headquartered in Lucknow, not New Delhi. So because of that, statement is false. Now this body is under the control of Ministry of Civil Aviation, not railways, and that's quite counterintuitive. Okay, generally anyone would guess that this body would be under Ministry of Railways, but no, it has been deliberately kept under Ministry of Civil Aviation to prevent conflict of interest. Because most of the times, this body would be investigating against railway ministry. Okay, so if there is any railway accident, that is because of the negligence of the railway ministry, and this CRS would be investigating against Ministry of Railways. So if it would be under Ministry of Railways, it won't conduct fair investigation, because who would conduct a fair investigation against themselves, right? So it has been deliberately kept outside Ministry of Railways, under Ministry of Civil Aviation. So this part is also false. Now, this body came into being in 1961, but it was not established in 1961. It just got its name changed. Before 1961, it was called Railway Inspectorate. Okay, and this Railway Inspectorate was created by the Britishers when they were ruling India. It was only in 1961 that its name got changed to CRS. Okay, so this part is correct. Only one is correct. A. Question 2. Which of the following statements is correct regarding Kavach system? It is a train collision avoidance system that was designed by DRDO. Okay, Kavach was adopted by Ministry of Railways, okay, as National Automatic Train Protection System in July. All right, the system is based on radio frequency identification technology, that is RFID. Okay, now select the correct option from below. Now listen, Kavach system is an automatic system. Okay, so Kavach is an automatic system that prevents collision of trains. Right? Makes sense? Now, Kavach was adopted by Ministry of Railways as the National Automatic Train Protection System in July 2022. This is absolutely correct. Clear? Now, this Kavach system, which prevents collision of railways, and it is an automatic system. So what happens is, whenever two trains that are traveling towards each other and are on the same track, whenever found that these two trains are on the same track and are about to collide with each other, this Kavach system gets activated and it automatically puts brakes on these two trains. So these trains automatically stop. Okay. Now for that you need some instruments on the railway tracks as well as some instruments on the locomotive of the train. Okay. Now these instruments which would communicate that a train is about to collide with my train, right? These instruments are called RFID tags, radio frequency identification technology system. Okay. Now this Kavach system has been adopted by Ministry of Railways, but it was not developed by DRDO. It was basically developed by research, designs, and standards organization. So not DRDO, but RDSO. So remember this part. Okay, this part is false. Only 2 and 3 D. Question 3. Which of the following statements is are correct regarding PM Shri scheme? It is a central sector scheme to upgrade at least 14,500 government existing schools across the country. The budgetary support for this scheme is going to be 27,000 crores. Only schools managed by central government shall be covered under this scheme. Okay. Now look, government wants to make government schools better. Government wants that government schools should give quality education and students of these schools should have better learning outcomes. Okay. Generally people, it is a general belief in India that government schools are way worse than private schools, and government of the day doesn't want that. So to improve and upgrade government schools or quality of education in these schools, government came out with PM Shri scheme. Now the scheme is a centrally sponsored scheme. Okay. A central sector scheme is the one in which 100% funding is done by central government. But a centrally sponsored scheme is one in which the funding of the scheme is shared between central and state governments. Okay. Now, PM Shri scheme is a centrally sponsored scheme. It aims to upgrade 14,500 government schools, but it is a centrally sponsored scheme. Okay. Now, the funding pattern would be 60 to 40%. 60% funding from central government, 40% funding from state governments. Now, that is the case for normal states. As far as northeastern states are concerned, or Himalayan states are concerned, or the UT of J&K is concerned, the funding pattern is 90 to 10. Okay. And for UTs which do not have a legislature, well, for them 100% funding is done by government. Okay. Now, the total budgetary support is 27,000 crore. This is correct. Only schools managed by central government shall be upgraded under this scheme? No. Schools managed by state government, schools managed by local governments, Kendriya Vidyalayas, Navodaya Vidyalayas, they all are eligible for, all are eligible under this scheme. So this part is also false. Only one. Question 4. Consider the following statements regarding UNFCCC, United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, Conference of Parties. COP26 led to Glasgow Pact, which was the first ever pact to phase down usage of coal. COP21, Paris Agreement, launched Loss and Damage Fund to provide financial help to countries struck by climate disasters. Kyoto Protocol placed emission reduction obligations on rich and industrialized countries. Okay. Now, Conference of Parties is an annual conference under UNFCCC. These conferences bring together people from different countries, people who are parties to this convention, to decide on the global climate policy. Now, COP number 26, which happened in Glasgow, Scotland, led to Glasgow Pact, which was the first ever pact to phase down the usage of coal, because coal is a polluting material, fossil fuel. So this part is correct. Now, COP21 was held in Paris in 2015 and this led to Paris Agreement. And Paris Agreement was all about coming out with a policy or reducing emissions. Each and every country would reduce emissions so that the global rise or the rise in global temperatures does not exceed 2 degrees Celsius. And if possible, we can limit it to 1.5 degrees Celsius. So this was Paris Agreement. Loss and Damage Fund was launched not in COP21 but in COP28 that happened in Dubai. And Loss and Damage Fund is a fund that would finance or that would actually be used to help countries facing climate related disasters like floods, landslides and all that. Okay, so this part is false. Now, Kyoto Protocol was the result of COP3, which happened in Kyoto 1997. This Kyoto Protocol was about placing obligation on only rich and industrialized countries, not developing countries, rich and industrialized countries to reduce emissions, carbon emissions. So this part is correct. 1 and 3 only. And last, consider the following statements regarding foreign portfolio investment. FPI involves foreign investment in financial assets of a country. In India, FPI should be less than 10% of the total paid up equity capital of a company. FPI is generally short-term investment, usually done through financial markets, stock market or bond market. Now look, foreign investment is of two types: foreign direct investment, foreign portfolio investment. Now, if a foreign investor wants to do business in India, wants to set up a shop in India, wants to set up a factory in India, wants to acquire a company in India, then the money spent by that foreign investor would be counted as foreign direct investment. It is generally long term because this foreign investor wants to do business in India, wants to stay in India for longer periods of time. But if a foreign investor wants to invest in India's stock market, is there to make money. Okay, he wants to invest. That foreign investor wants to invest in India's stock market, buy shares, then sell them, buy bonds, then sell them. That particular investor is, I'm sorry, that particular investor is foreign portfolio investor. Okay, and foreign portfolio investors invest in India through financial markets like stock market, share market, Sensex Nifty, bond market. So this part is correct. And generally, because FPIs are not there to do business in India, they are just here to make money, their investments can be short term. They would buy the shares of Reliance today and sell them tomorrow. So their investment is short term. Okay, this part is correct. Now, FPI involves foreign investment in financial assets of the country. Correct. Financial assets like shares, bonds. Okay. Whereas FDI is not financial assets. In fact, FDI people buy physical assets. They buy land, they buy factory. Okay. This part is also correct. Now, if a foreign portfolio investor invests in shares of a particular company and buys more than 10% of those shares, then that won't be categorized as FPI. Under FPI rules, you cannot buy more than 10% of shares of a particular company. So this part is also correct. 1, 2, 3. And the correct answer is D. And with that, we conclude today's session. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. I'm so sorry. Hope it has added value to your preparation. Okay. Now, if you want to revise this lecture, please revise it because that would help you to consolidate these questions that we discussed in this lecture. Please revise this lecture from our PDF file, which would be shared on our Telegram channel. And the link to our Telegram channel is provided in the comment section below. Okay, so click on that link. It will take you to our Telegram channel, and from there you can download the PDF for this lecture. This PDF file would contain written solutions to all the questions discussed in this lecture. Okay, so make sure you check this out too. It won't take more than 10 minutes of your time, but you will be able to consolidate these questions in your memory. Okay, all right. On that note, I'll sign off. Thank you so much, everyone.